Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers, and the build-up to the quarterfinals at the Rugby World Cup continues right here and right now with a look ahead to Sunday's fixtures: England versus Fiji, and then the final game of the weekend in Paris, France against South Africa. Some massive games, and I'll be doing that with Rich from the Rugby Analyst channel. How you doing, Rich?
Very good indeed, Tim. Yeah, we've just reviewed the first or previewed the first two of those semi-finals. So we're getting stuck into England, Fiji, France, South Africa. Once again, so hard to call both these.
Massive matches. Yeah, I will just say, actually, yeah, Saturday's games, go to Rich's channel. It's the Rugby Analyst. I'm sure you all subscribe there already, but get over there and have a look at that, because we have a good old, we break down those first two fixtures. And yeah, as Rich just said, those two, incredibly hard to call. These two, exactly the same. And as we record this, we don't have any teams announced for it, but I will start, Rich, with the rumour, starting with England, Fiji.
I know. I knew you were going to start with this.
So what do you make of the leaked England team and George Ford? Well, there's some reports saying he's out for the 23. There's some saying he's on the bench. Marcus Smith starting at 15 and Owen Farrell starting at 10. What was your reaction when you saw that?
I was pretty pleased, to be honest. I mean, Borthwick was never going to drop Farrell, I don't think. Even though when I'd done my selection, I probably would have had Ford at 10, just over Farrell from what we've seen. But they're both very good 10s. Farrell is excellent goal kicker, as is Ford, but Farrell is more physically robust. And if he makes legal tackles, he is more likely to stop a rampaging Fijian than George Ford. So I can see that. And Smith, again, just going on what we've seen, is the better fullback. Sure, but are Fiji the team going to be peppering him with big kicks? They're not really that sort of team. Although, if they try, I think England would be happy if they try, because it means they're not running at them. But Smith's got better. What I would say is that I know Smith hadn't played fullback before this World Cup, but for someone who's never played fullback before, God, he's coming with confidence. It looks like he's been playing there all his life, and he creates maybe even better at fullback than he does at 10. He's got that little bit more time to go at the opposition, fix them, step them, rather than try and do it playing flat. And he's been creating opportunities for other people from fullback better than any English 15 for a long time, a very long time, maybe ever.
You're so right, Rich, and it's remarkable, isn't it? If we went back a year ago and said Freddie Steward's going to be not the force he's not going to be worth his starting spot at 15, and Marcus Smith is going to be the England fullback. You go, what are you talking about? But you're so right, and I think particularly with this matchup with Fiji, this makes a lot of sense. That game at Twickenham before the World Cup, George Ford, and this is not being disparaging to George Ford, but Fiji had a plan. Let's run our massive men at George Ford, and he was basically a turnstile for that 80 minutes. And he's fantastic at lots of things. That's not disparaging of George Ford. This is not his strength. And Fiji would have a very simple game plan. And I think Owen Farrell, as long as he stays legal, as you say, is a much more solid option there. And you're so right. It's a win-win with Marcus Smith. They're going to run the ball a lot, I imagine, Fiji. But if Marcus Smith's presence there does encourage them to kick it and test him, good for England, because Marcus Smith is someone you want with his hands on the ball, and great because they're, that you've sort of neutered one of the things you fear most about Fiji. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And I'm hearing those words come out of my mouth. I'm really glad Marcus Smith is 15. I couldn't have imagined myself saying that a while ago. But that is a measure of, yes, how well Marcus Smith has done. And also Freddie Steward has got some liabilities.
Yeah, I mean, Smith isn't a sure thing, of course. He's not the biggest defender, of course, although he has definitely got stronger and he's definitely got quicker. The biggest change I've seen in Smith this year is physically. He looks so much more robust. But yeah, if a rampaging Fijian breaks through the line, is he going to take him one-on-one? Well, we'll find out, won't we? If this is the team that comes out, we don't know.
Yes, and maybe even by the time you're watching this video, it's already come out, so you can judge what we're saying on that basis. But Fiji were exceptional, and then, I mean, I even at like lower league level and sort of semi-pro level, I played with Fijians, and they were always hot or cold. When they're on, they're just unplayable, whether you're playing against them or with, or much preferred it when I was playing with them. They're not going to be a repeat of the game against Portugal. This is going to be the best version of Fiji. I've got no doubt about that. What do you think?
To be honest, that result against Portugal was probably the worst result England could have had, because they would have been humiliated. As good as Portugal were, Fiji panicked. They absolutely panicked. They lost shape. And they are going to be so on it to put that right. I'm not happy that they actually lost to Portugal in a way, because it's going to be scary what they bring.
Yeah, they are frightening, the talents they've got, and just when you just run through the names in that back line, and it's frightening. But that's always been the case. But they've got a legit front row now. They've got a legit scrum. They've got some issues.
Scrum's been good.
Scrum's been really good. Line out still an issue, and that's
definitely
that should be and will be somewhere England target massively, and they need to. But what else do you think will be? Line out's always high up on Steve Borthwick's list, but what else do you think will be the things that he's going, right, we need to tick this off, need to tick this off, need to tick this off?
Yeah, I mean, scrum just needs to hold its own. It's going to be fascinating to see how they go with their props. Do they go with their big scrummaging props to start with and then bring on Genjan Sinclair, or do they start with Genjan Sinclair, who I think are pretty clearly their best all-round props?
He seems to only start one of those at a time. He doesn't want to have them both on at the same time. It's interesting. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you.
It's probably the scrum. No, I think you're right. He's worried about the scrum as he should be. But yeah, kicking tactics will be interesting. Are they going to get this ball off the park, deep off the park, stop the quick throw in, and then they've got Itoje, Chesham, and Laws probably, who are both, they're all very quick to get in the air. Like, relatively willowy, maybe for second rows. Get them up nice and quick. Be a real pain in the bum. I think they're going to go after that line out big time.
I think, and I think this will be something we talk about when we come on to South Africa, France. I think you just nailed it there with England. England and South Africa want the ball off the pitch a lot.
Yeah. A lot. Yeah. They want a bit of a rest. They don't want Fiji to get up ahead of steam, get the confidence. They want to slow it down a little bit. I'm sure England will play a big kicking game to start with, pin Fiji back and say, okay, have a go. And Fiji do make mistakes. They have made mistakes. They're not particularly a clean team. But, I mean, of course, they could score from anywhere. Is Naikalevu fit? That was a bit of a worry for them as well.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, I hope so for the spectacle. I really hope so. He's been absolutely fantastic. And I want, if England win, I want them to beat the best version of Fiji. So, let's hope.
I think their hookers. Their hooker's not going to be there as well.
Yeah, Matavesi looks like he's not there, which is a shame. But other than that, they're looking like whoever they put out on the field is going to be it's going to be something else. And everyone, we're used to this, Rich. Everyone that isn't English is going to be desperately cheering Fiji on, but that's just normal being an England fan, so that's fine. I'm sure that it's going to be, despite the fact there are tickets still available, which is I find crazy, but that probably tells you where the England fans' relationship with the England team is, in stark contrast with what we were talking about with Ireland.
Yeah, a little bit, but also remember, Fiji is a small country with a small population, and when you compare it to, say, the other teams, they are bigger fan bases. So I think there's going to be a little bit of that as well.
That's fair.
If the French public are choosing games to go to, they're probably not going to choose England-Fiji. So I kind of let them off a little bit there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And I mean, to be fair, I know a lot of people that are making the trip. A lot of people that have had very long-held plans that are making the trip. Some that have hastily arranged it. It's going to be bouncing. I'm looking forward to. I'm just outside of Marseille, just in between there and Aix-en-Provence at the minute, which the England camper is in Aix-en-Provence. But I'll be. I'm looking forward to getting right down in the middle of Marseille tomorrow, just to kind of get a bit of atmosphere as all the England fans start, and Wales fans start to arrive. It should be great.
No, it's going to be cool.
And then that is so what's your gut feeling on this one in terms of how you think it's going to go?
Well, I said Fiji are going to be fired up after losing to Portugal, which is true. But then also remember, England were particularly poor in their last game as well against Samoa, and they lost to Fiji last season. So I think they're going to be right on it as well. I'm going to put my heart on the sleeve, say, well, I think England are going to win. I think England are going to put out a good performance. That's what I'm saying. Depending on the team selection, but
yeah, we'll wait and see on that. But I tend to agree with you as well, Rich. One of the things that the players said after the Argentina game is that they were like that stadium, that atmosphere, never. So many of the players said that's the most incredible atmosphere I've ever played in front of, and we were so inspired by that. And they've been talking about getting back to Marseille. I think they're genuinely really excited, and the hesitancy, the lack of energy, the lethargy in the England performance, I hope we see that go. I think they're going to be a little bit more inspired and realise it's on the line here, 80 minutes, got to go. And I think if they bring that energy, then they should have just enough. They should have enough to get past Fiji. On a selfish level, I hope. So that's my thought as well. And then that's just really the starter before the main course. And
yeah,
is this the hardest game to call of the weekend? France, South Africa in Paris?
It just the look of it just scares the life out of me. It just the atmosphere is going to be simply insane with those French fans, and they're facing the beast, the South Africans. It's the collisions are going to be. You can probably hear them from Marseille where you are. It's horrible. It genuinely scares me thinking about this game, and I'm not even supporting either of the sides.
Well, in exactly that way, that game last November, was it, in Marseille, was one of the best, and definitely one of the most brutal games of rugby I've ever seen.
Yeah, and are they going to go after Antoine Dupont? Are they? I'm sure they're going to try and smash him, aren't they? And
lots of people have tried.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's got a plate in his cheek. And even with a face mask, if he bashes it or bashes it on the floor, it's a worry. It's a definite worry. It's going to hurt like hell, that's for sure.
It has to be a worry. And I was having this conversation, and a friend of mine said, I think they should start him on the bench. I don't. The news has been that he's training.
No.
The news has been that he's 100%. He's 100% functionally sound and everything. He's got the scrum cap. He's going to start. The team isn't out yet, but it may well be by the time you watch this video. He's going to start.
Big time.
But the thought was, if you did have to bring him off, the deflation that would cause would be absolutely, the psychological blow of Dupont having to come off would be massive. Versus, you can imagine him, just 2 minutes after half time, taking off his warm up vest and standing on the touchline. The atmosphere in the stadium would just be incredible. But there's no second chances here, and it's South Africa. You have to go. You have to play him.
And also, like, from a coaching point of view, it's probably actually riskier having him on the bench, because if he takes a knock and has to go off, and he started fine, but if he comes on, takes a knock and have to go off, you've got no scrum half. So I think you start him and just see how far it goes.
What I love about the fact Dupont, the injury that Dupont has faced, I don't love the fact he got injured, but that's not what I mean. But is that he left a vacuum, and you were wondering, okay, how are France going to deal with this? And Matthew Jalabert has grown.
Oh.
He has filled that void. And so here's my argument. France are better placed now than they were even before the World Cup, because now they have a Matthew Jalabert who assumed so much of the responsibility that Antoine Dupont took on his own shoulders. And now you get that version of Matthew Jalabert with Antoine Dupont back again.
Yeah. Are you referring to kind of the comment I think Jalabert made, saying in some ways it's easier playing without Dupont?
No,
I'm pretty sure
that's amazing.
Sure I read that somewhere. I'm pretty sure he said,
"Wow,
just the pressure." And tell me if I'm wrong here, viewers, but I'm absolutely certain I read that somewhere. But he could almost be France's saviour if they win this game with that injury to Roman Intermac. Him coming in and being so unbelievably amazing. He could be the World Cup winning mistake, if you like.
Yeah, and he has been sensational. So Yeah, and I think he's had to take that role, and I think he will. I think he'll be a different person from the person who said that. Now I think he'll be like, yeah, great, DuPont's back, but I'm here as well, because he's just got that mentality about him. He is a very special player, and isn't it amazing? We're like, for him to have taken that opportunity. That, I mean, that's one person's loss is another person's opportunity, and this could be the perfect example. But we know what the Springboks are going to do. It's interesting with them naming their teams, and again, they may well have been named by the time you're watching this video. But initially, Rassie Erasmus at the start of the week, they normally announce their team early. He said, "No, we're going to wait for France," and they put their team announcement after France's, and then France moved theirs after South Africa's.
I saw that comment from Erasmus, and I was like, "You sure you want to say that?"
Yeah, you're saying the quiet part out loud, Rassie.
Yeah, I would have kept that quiet, to be honest. But South Africa, I think they've got the biggest selection decisions to make, because they've got a lot of choices that could be absolutely right or could, seriously hurt them as well. They've got a lot of options for, like, with France, with Ireland. You know who their best teams are, pretty much. With South Africa, it's still a little bit up in the air in that back line.
Yeah.
Which way would you go?
I think I would go. Oh, guys, I flip and flop between this. I think in this game, with the nature of the game that I think it's going to be, I think I would go Handré Pollard. I think quite often it's too simplistic comparison is made, and people think Handré Pollard is the safe kicking 10 and Marnie Libbok is the attacking creative 10. Actually, Marnie Libbok's kicking's actually quite good, and Handré Pollard can do much more than just tactically kick. However, that territorial element of the game is massive, and they cannot afford to get that wrong. And New Zealand,
such a huge call.
It's a massive call, but I think that's why I would go Handré Pollard.
Esterhuizen and Lukhanyo all back together.
Oh my goodness me!
What a massive decision at 13 as well. Just huge.
It is huge. It is. I cannot make that call. I can see it. I think I might roll the dice. I might just. There's no tomorrow. Lukhanyo in.
I think they might do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, but Libbok, they've built this team around Libbok.
Yeah.
And a lot of the great stuff they've done has been with him at 10. So are you going to throw that away? It's these guys, these Rassie Erasmus, Jacques Nienaber, they've got the biggest calls of their life right now. And if South Africa lose, I'm sure the questions will be asked, should they have made the other decision? Not that we'll ever know if the other decision was better than the one they're going to make. It's
exactly.
A defining moment of their coaching careers.
You're so right. And it's important to remember when Rassie Erasmus took over in 2018, I mean, the World Cup win in 2019 was just inspired and everything just came together, but it wasn't part of the plan. It happened too early. They've talked about that. His eyes were on Lions 21, World Cup 23. So this was what the whole plan has been building towards. The fact they got themselves a World Cup 4 years ago was an incredible bonus, but this is what it's all been about. And for that reason, I think the plan was to develop the way they play. And so I think he will start Libbok and have Pollard on the bench, and I think they'll go 5-3.
I just thought you said he'd play Pollard.
No. I would play Pollard.
Oh, you would play Pollard.
That's what I would do. What I think he will do is start Libbok.
Wow. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just don't know. I mean, these two biggies, these two big quarterfinals, France, South Africa, Ireland, New Zealand, there's so much on the line. The losers of those two are going to be absolutely devastated. I mean, if France get knocked out of their own World Cup at quarterfinal stage, it is going to deflate the whole thing.
Oh yeah, the energy is going to go from the atmosphere and all the cities. The billboards will start coming down. Yeah, it'll be done. It'll be like World Cup's over. It's finished. Whatever.
Yeah,
we'll just be in their country finishing it off. It's you're right. It will be devastating. But you reel off those names in the French team, and they have got both teams have got the stardust. It's so cruel that they're playing each other, and yet isn't it incredible that we've got this game on Sunday night? What a match! What a match!
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Have you got an early start on Monday?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I suppose
Absolutely.
it's 8 o'clock. I suppose it's 9 o'clock kickoff here in France, which is which is
All right, okay.
I would like it to be an hour earlier, if I'm honest. But that because well, particularly for the fans that are in Paris, it takes so long to get back into town that you sort of get back to have a beer at a pub and it's like 1 a.m. But
No, you're not liking these out of town stadiums, are you?
no, I don't. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. I'm here in Marseille, which is very different. That's my favorite stadium so far. But yeah, so prediction then, how do you see it going?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. If you had to push me, I'd say France, but so much depends on if the selections that South Africa make come off, and they could, and they might backfire. What are they going to do on the bench? We haven't mentioned that. I think
Oh wow.
Erasmus is saying it's going to be 6-2 or 7-1. They're not decided.
Even joke with it, or is it going to be 4-4?
No.
I think if Pollard's on the bench, it has to be 5-3.
Wow, which they haven't done for ages.
They haven't done for ages. And interestingly, France have been going back to the 5-3. They haven't been using Makalou in that fashion. They've been going back to that as well.
So they don't have to go. They could go 6-2, start Moody on one wing.
Yeah, that's a shout.
And then he goes to centre, and then you just need a 9 and a 10 on the bench.
Yeah.
And I think that's not I think they could do that. Get a bit more height in there. France are going to kick. They could start Moody on one wing. It's so funny. People are going to be watching this knowing the teams.
Yeah, that's true, actually. You can realise how little, or maybe in Rich's case, how much we know about rugby. That's a really good shout, actually, Rich. I hadn't thought of Moody. Oh my goodness me. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Or they don't even put Pollard in, and they have Willemse covering 10.
Yeah. Could well happen. I keep flip-flopping when people ask me. I did a little spot on the radio the other morning. Like, how do you see that one going? And I went, South Africa. And then I spoke to someone else earlier today. Oh, I think France. I keep going to and fro. It's so incredibly hard to call that one.
Yep.
Well, if the fans make any difference, then France will come through. But oh my goodness me, I cannot wait. And I'll just go back to what I said at the start of the video on your channel, which people, again, if you haven't watched it, go back and see us talk about Saturday's fixtures on Rich's channel, Rugby Analyst. The thing I said is I hope none of these games come down to a controversial officiating decision. I fear that one of them is going to. I really hope that's not the case.
I hope so.
Can't wait. So, hey, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up, leave your comments. Me and Rich will get stuck in there, and you can go over to Rich's channel, watch the video on Saturday's quarterfinals, and go and do the same over there. Rich, as ever, thanks, mate. We've been doing this all year, doing these little collaborations and stuff, and here we are. This is the money weeks. This is business time. Love it.
This is it. So much on the line. Have a great time in Marseille, Tim.
Awesome. Rich, enjoy the games, and I'll be checking out your channel, mate. You take it easy.